Did you know that just one small morning habit can triple your risk of stroke after the age of 60? Welcome back to Life in Words, where we share stories to help older adults live healthier, more independent, and more meaningful lives each day. Today, we have the honor of speaking with one of the most respected voices in geriatric medicine, Dr. Edward Halberg, 102 years old, who has devoted over 70 years to caring for older adults and studying how the aging body truly works. He once said, "Stroke doesn't come from far away. It hides quietly in your peaceful morning." That one sentence gave birth to this conversation. In this video, Dr. Halberg will reveal 5 seemingly harmless morning habits that silently increase stroke risk. He will also show us how to recognize the earliest warning signs, the ones most people ignore. Before we begin, we'd love to know where you're watching from. Please comment below with your country or city. And if this topic speaks to you, consider subscribing to Life in Words. We promise to keep bringing you heartfelt, science-based, and deeply helpful stories made just for you. The unexpected early signs of stroke. It's not pain. It's not dizziness. It's not fainting. Sometimes, the very first sign of stroke just feels off. I asked Dr. Edward Halberg, if you could only warn people about one early sign of stroke, what would it be? He smiled gently and said, "I'd tell them, don't wait for pain or dizziness to worry. The first sign isn't scary. It simply feels strange." Then he told me the story of Thomas, 74, a retired accountant, still sharp, still healthy. But recently, he started dropping his keys more often. His wife noticed him fumbling with buttons, and one morning, when writing a shopping list, he forgot how to spell the word milk. No headache, no slurred speech, but something wasn't right. He went in for a scan. It showed he had just experienced a TIA, a mini-stroke without even knowing it. They caught it early, adjusted his medication, improved his diet, increased hydration, and because of that, Thomas never had a major stroke. Dr. Halberg looked at me and said softly, "The brain doesn't scream for help. It whispers. And those whispers sound like clumsy fingers, a toothbrush missing its mark, a hand that can't pour tea the way it used to. These aren't just signs of aging," he added. "They're signs of interrupted blood flow, small but meaningful." I paused, thinking, I've had moments like that too, dropping a utensil, forgetting a word. I brushed them off. If you're watching right now, I'd like to ask, have your hands or coordination felt a little off lately? If yes, comment 1. If no, comment 0. Your answer might help someone else notice what they've been ignoring. Dr. Halberg never scolds. He simply reminds us that the smallest changes might be your body's first quiet call for help. And that help begins not with fear, but with attention. Next, we'll talk about why morning, the calmest time of day, is actually when your body is most at risk. Part 2, why morning is the most dangerous time for stroke. I asked Dr. Halberg, why do stroke symptoms often appear in the morning? He didn't hesitate. Because the body is waking up, but the circulatory system hasn't found its rhythm yet. During sleep, we go hours without water. Blood becomes thicker, heavier. At the same time, Cortisol, the stress hormone, starts to rise with the morning light. So does blood pressure. In younger people, blood vessels are still elastic. They can adjust. But after 60, those vessels stiffen. They react more slowly. That's when things can go wrong. He called it a physiological storm at sunrise, a collision of dehydration, hormonal shifts, and rising pressure, all striking a cardiovascular system that's already been worn down by time. And I realized most of us jump out of bed, grab coffee, check the news, scroll our phones. Few stop to drink water. Few sit still and breathe. We race into the day without asking if our body is truly ready. Dr. Halberg nodded gently. Just because your eyes are open doesn't mean your body is ready. Think of it like an old machine. It needs a slower, kinder start. Then he said something I'll never forget. You can't stop the sunrise, but you can choose how you greet it. If you're still watching, I'd love to hear, how do you begin your morning comment? I start my day with, maybe it's a walk, a cup of coffee, a quiet breath by the window. Your story might inspire someone else to soften their routine too. Morning isn't the enemy, but if we don't understand what our body's going through, it can become the most fragile time of all. As Dr. Halberg says, aging doesn't make you weak. Ignoring your rhythms does. Next, we'll talk about the very first morning habit, the one most of us skip, that quietly raises stroke risk after 60. Habit 1. Not drinking water after waking up. I asked Dr. Edward Halberg, among all the morning habits older people follow every day, which one is the most dangerous, yet often overlooked? He answered without pause, not drinking water after waking up. At first, it sounded simple, but his expression grew serious. This isn't small, he said. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is like a dry sponge. Blood thickens, circulation slows down, and when you skip that first glass of water, you're asking your brain to work without the one thing it needs most: hydration. I realized, most mornings I start with coffee, the news, maybe even my phone. Many days, I forget to drink water until much later. Dr. Halberg nodded kindly. People think caffeine wakes them up, but your brain doesn't need stimulation first. It needs circulation, and circulation begins with water, not coffee. He mentioned a study showing that nearly half of all first strokes in older adults were linked to dehydration in the morning. Not genes, not diet, just the absence of a glass of water. And the solution? Incredibly simple. Just a glass of room temperature water. Not cold, not flavored. Drink it before anything else, before coffee, before medication, before headlines. It's not just wetting your throat, he said. It's telling your brain, I care for you. I asked him, is it too late for someone who's never done this? Even at age 80. He smiled. It's never too late to speak kindly to your body. And sometimes, that kindness begins with a glass of water. If you're still watching, let me ask, do you drink water in the morning? If yes, comment, I drink water every morning. If not yet, comment, I'll start tomorrow. That small comment may remind someone else who really needs to hear it. Dr. Halberg doesn't lecture. He simply shares what he's witnessed, strokes that didn't have to happen. If someone had taken care of the little things, And of all the little things, none is smaller, yet more powerful, than a single glass of morning water. Next, we'll talk about a habit that seems peaceful, but actually puts pressure on the heart every morning, sitting still for too long after waking up. Habit 2. Sitting too long after waking up. I asked Dr. Halberg. Many older people like to stay seated after waking up, read the paper, check their phone. Isn't that a gentle way to begin the day? He shook his head gently. It's something I see all the time, and unfortunately, it's not as harmless as it seems. After lying down all night, blood tends to settle in the lower body, especially the legs. In younger adults, vessels remain elastic. They can pump blood back to the heart with ease, but after 60, that elasticity weakens. So when you go from lying still to sitting still, with no movement in between, circulation stays sluggish, and your brain doesn't get enough oxygen in the most critical moments of the morning. Dr. Halberg called it a gentle vascular bottleneck, and warned that if someone then stands up too quickly, or strains during a bathroom trip, they may trigger a sudden spike in pressure in a system already under strain. I sat there thinking about all the older adults I know who stay seated quietly in the mornings, believing it's restful, and those who jump up too fast. It all seemed harmless, until now. But Dr. Halberg didn't leave it there. He offered gentle, practical steps. While still lying down, take 2 minutes. Move your ankles. Wiggle your toes. Roll gently to one side. Then, after sitting up, do shoulder circles. Roll your neck. Stand slowly. He smiled and said, "You don't need to exercise. Just wake up your blood before it has to carry you." I found that so meaningful. Not move more, but move with care. No pressure, no rush, just kindness toward a body trying to adjust. If you're still here with us, share one small thing you could do each morning to get your blood flowing. Comment tomorrow. I'll try. Maybe it's walking to the kitchen, stretching by the bed, or simply raising your arms. That simple step could make a big difference for someone else reading. Growing older doesn't mean getting weaker. But after 60, your body needs guidance, not force. And that guidance begins in the first few minutes of the day, with awareness, with gentleness, with patience. Next, we'll look at a belief many people hold onto skipping breakfast to stay light without realizing it puts their heart and brain at risk. Habit 3. Skipping breakfast. We paused for a moment before starting the next topic. Dr. Halberg looked out the window and spoke quietly. So many believe that skipping breakfast is healthy, to stay light, to save time. But after 60, that belief becomes risky. He told me he's seen countless older adults taking blood pressure meds, heart pills, or diabetes medication without eating anything first. The result? They begin their day dehydrated, their blood is thick, their blood sugar drops, and the brain suffers first. The brain doesn't store energy like the liver or heart, he said. It needs steady fuel, especially in the morning after fasting all night. I asked, what happens if someone takes meds and drinks coffee without eating? He sighed. That's a dangerous combination. I've seen strokes happen just hours after mornings like that. It's not random. It's the result of unstable conditions we create. Once again, his solution was beautifully simple. No heavy meals, Just something light, to bring stability. Half a boiled egg, a spoon of yogurt, a few soaked walnuts, a slice of whole grain toast with almond butter. After 60, breakfast is not about hunger, he said. It's about rhythm. It's about keeping the system stable. The brain, the heart, the blood. I used to think skipping breakfast showed discipline. I even felt proud of it. But now, I see it differently. After 60, breakfast isn't optional, it's essential. If you're watching this, I'd love to hear about your routine. What do you usually eat in the morning? Comment, my favorite breakfast is. It could be something simple, or something you're ready to add back in. Your words might guide someone toward a better start. What I admire most about Dr. Halberg isn't just his knowledge, but how gently he sees the world. He doesn't ask us to change our lives overnight. He just says, begin again each morning. And breakfast is the kindest place to begin. Next, we'll talk about a hidden danger that often goes unnoticed: early morning stress, and why it silently pushes your heart and brain to the edge. Habit 4: Early morning stress. I will never forget the look in Dr. Edward Halberg's eyes when he spoke about this next habit. There was no judgment, just the deep understanding of someone who had seen this happen far too often. One of the most dangerous things older people do in the morning, he said, is expose themselves to stress before their body is truly ready. We often think of stress as an emotional thing, feeling upset, overwhelmed, annoyed. But biologically, stress is a chain reaction. And when it starts right after waking, the heart and blood vessels are forced to respond while they're still trying to stabilize. Dr. Halberg shared a long-term study involving over 90,000 people. It showed that those who regularly encountered psychological stress in the early hours, like reading upsetting news, checking email, or arguing with a loved one, had a significantly higher chance of stroke, especially within the first 3 hours of waking. Why? Because the body is already in transition. Cortisol, the stress hormone, naturally peaks in the early morning. Blood pressure is rising. Add mental pressure on top, and you create a storm inside a system that hasn't yet found its balance. I paused, thinking of my own routine, grabbing the phone, scrolling headlines, checking messages, without giving my nervous system even 5 minutes of calm. Dr. Halberg doesn't tell us to avoid the world. He simply suggests a buffer zone. Just 10 minutes, he said. No talking, no screens, no rush. Sit with a warm cup of tea. Breathe. Let your brain feel safe before asking it to perform. You don't need to meditate. You don't need a program. Just let your morning begin with care. If you're still here with us, I'd love to know, what is the calmest part of your morning comment? The quietest moment of my morning is. Even the simplest routine can inspire someone else who's still searching for balance. And if you've never had that quiet space before, let today be the first. Dr. Halberg reminded me, there's no greater gift you can give your heart and brain than gentleness at dawn. Next, we'll talk about what Dr. Halberg believes is the most dangerous morning habit of all, one that's often ignored entirely: physical stillness. Habit 5. Stillness, the silent enemy. This was the moment Dr. Edward Halberg grew quiet for the longest time. He leaned back slightly and spoke in a softer tone, as if sharing something deeply personal. Stillness, he said. Not the peaceful kind that comes with meditation, but the kind where blood, muscles, and breath stagnate. You wake up, but you don't leave the bed. You don't move. You sit in the same chair, the same position. No motion at all. To most of us, that sounds like a normal morning sipping coffee, reading the news, easing into the day. But for a body over 60 long periods of stillness, right after waking quietly, slow the entire circulatory system, after a night of sleep, blood is already thick. He explained, veins don't push blood back up to the heart as efficiently as they used to. If you stay still too long, the legs become pooling zones. That's where clots begin. He reminded me of something most people overlook. In hospitals, post-surgery patients are encouraged to move as early as possible. And just because you're not lying in a hospital bed doesn't mean your body isn't reacting the same way to long morning stillness. He continued, it's not just how much you move, it's when you move. The first hour after waking up is the most important window of all. Dr. Halberg reassured me, you don't need to run, you don't need to sweat. He smiled. You just need 5 to 10 minutes of gentle motion. March in place. Roll your shoulders. Stretch your arms. Walk to the mailbox. Anything that tells your blood, it's time to flow. I found that image so powerful. Not forcing the body, but inviting it to wake up with kindness. If you're still here, I'd love for you to share something. What gentle movement could you add to your morning comment? I'll start my morning with maybe a few steps, a slow stretch, opening the curtains. Your intention might be the nudge someone else needs to begin moving too. Dr. Halberg closed this part of our talk with a metaphor I'll never forget. Think of your blood like a river. If you don't open the dam early, the water becomes stagnant. And where water sits too long, illness begins. Next, we'll return to the quiet afternoon light to hear one final message from Dr. Halberg. A message simple enough to remember, but strong enough to change the way we begin each day. Conclusion. That afternoon, the light was soft. Sunlight filtered gently through the window, touching the silver in Dr. Edward Halberg's hair. I asked him quietly, if you could leave one final message for everyone listening, what would it be? He smiled, warm, steady, and said, I'd say this, you don't need to change your entire life. You just need to begin again each morning. I had followed him through decades of experience and care, but what moved me most was his unshakable belief in the power of small things. A glass of water, a slow breath, a single soft step, a gentle breakfast, a moment of stillness before the world begins. No expensive supplements, no complicated routines, just returning to the body with tenderness, with patience, and with intention. For many, stroke feels like a sudden tragedy. But Dr. Halberg helped us see the signs are often there long before, whispering through daily habits, hiding in small discomforts, living in the silence we often overlook. Stroke risk doesn't begin in hospitals. It begins in how we move, breathe, and care for ourselves the moment we open our eyes. After 60, the body may slow down, but it still knows how to heal if we listen. And the most important time to listen is not when symptoms arrive. It's when the day begins. If you've made it to the end of this video, please take a moment to reflect. Leave a comment. I'll begin again tomorrow morning. You never know. Your words may be the reason someone else finds hope today. And if you believe this video could help someone, a parent, a friend, or even your future self, please share it. And subscribe to Life in Words. We'll continue bringing you stories filled with warmth, truth, and hope to help you live lighter, stronger, and more connected each day. Growing older is not the end. It's a new chapter where you walk slower, see more clearly, and learn to care for yourself in a whole new way. With softness, with honesty, and with the wisdom of years. And it all begins with a gentle morning.